When the Levee Breaks. And it is a song by Led Zeppelin. If you have not listened to it, you should listen to it at some point in your lifetime. In the song says, if it keeps on raining, the levee's gonna break. And I feel we have reached that point. I feel like the levee is breaking. It's breaking. Great song, by the way, if you haven't heard it. And I think you're going to see that with all of these stories here tonight. I think you're going to see that. Simply Said the original is a blues song. Yeah. Oh, Simply knows what's up. What is up? What is up? Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into the very first story. If you haven't had a chance to do so, smash the like for me. And if you're new, don't forget to like, sub, and share, just like a Care Bear. So let's go ahead and get into our first story. If it keeps on raining, the levee's gonna break. When the levee breaks, I'll have no place to stay. That's what Led Zeppelin said. And I predict that could be the case with the floods that are happening in Washington state. Now, someone sent me this video and I had to look this up because I didn't even know this was happening. Didn't know it was going on. This is not being discussed the way that the wildfires were discussed in California. And we got to bring attention to it. So shout out to the individual who sent me this video. If it wasn't for TikTok, no one would know about the broken levees in Washington. Why is the news not reporting this? So listen to this guy here, guys.
Just a little update about what's going on in Washington. We got whole cities underwater. The levee broke. The Air National Guard had to try to airlift as many people as they could throughout the night to safety when they already thought that they had reached high grounds. We got every river overflooded with a lot more rain. Temperatures finna drop. They're talking about snow. They saying watch out for you being on the interstate because we got fallen trees. We got landslides. Folks had the audacity to mention a volcano. Listen, it really feel like we living in a little Final Destination moment. And let's not forget Christmas next week. But I need y'all to know we all we got. We're gonna get through it. Take care of yourself. And y'all have a good day.
Yeah, this is Washington State. They are currently under a state of emergency due to all the flooding that is happening. And again, I shout out to the person who sent me this because I was not aware of it. And I feel like when we heard about the wildfires in California and also the fires in Hawaii, I feel like that was all over the news. But I didn't hear about what was happening in Washington state. And I want you to hold on to something that he said there. He said that the levees broke. And it reminded me of when the levees broke during Hurricane Katrina. And I think we all know what came after that. Now, this is Washington State. This is the Northwest. Multiple rivers apparently have made their way through these different towns and cities. I want to show you a couple of videos here. Sherry said, Washington State, my state. Horrible flooding along I-90 west side. Look at this one here.
Leisha, get up, get down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the coming west.
See how fast that water's coming in? That's just one of the videos. Again, people found out about this because it was on TikTok. Apparently, people there are still dealing with this. Like Christmas is just a couple of days away. They're now calling for snow. I guess this is just catastrophic. Here's another one here. This is from AccuWeather. Entire towns are underwater as widespread historic flooding grips Washington, caused by days of heavy rain that have pushed rivers to levels never seen before. So they're saying that this is historic. Again, this is from AccuWeather.
What's happened is 3 exceptional events in a row. We have this atmospheric river that's hitting the entire region. We've had 3 in the last 2 days.
Our basement's completely flooded. There's a room at the back of our carport that's flooded. Our shop's flooded. Our outbuildings are flooded.
You can see the RVs that are underwater behind me, and we have 3 adults currently that our swift water team is working on. We do have boats coming out to assist with this rescue.
We have not heard of any fatalities at this point from the last 24 hours. People seem to be following largely those evacuation orders.
So these homes are ruined. I grew up in different places, but having lived in the Southeast, we get a lot of hurricanes, right? So there's hurricane season and you're bound to get one at some point in the Carolinas. And one of the most devastating, effects from hurricane is the flooding. The reality is when you see these homes underwater like this, they're done. They're done. Even when all this water dries up, you can't live in that house. These houses are going to have to be torn down. And then what's going to happen to that land? I've lived through this. I've seen this multiple times. And I just keep thinking about what that guy said when he said the levee broke. Because once the levees break, that's a wrap. I don't know about flooding insurance in Washington State. I don't even know if that's a thing there. In the Carolinas, it was because we get hurricanes every year down there. But I don't know if that's even a thing in Washington State. If you live in Washington State and you're watching, please let me know in the chat. Because if it's not, then I would assume that most of those people don't have flood insurance. And if they don't have flood insurance, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. There's another video here that I want to show you. Midas Charisse, she said, why is this not all over the news? And that's what I was wondering. When this was sent to me, I had no idea. They said just south of Seattle, Pacific, Washington.
Just south of Seattle, a levee failure along the White River, flooding entire neighborhoods, forcing the immediate evacuation of hundreds of people yesterday in Pacific, Washington. You can see water completely surrounding homes and nearly reaching the roofs of cars. It's a second levee along 2 different rivers in the state that broke in the last 48 hours.
Just want to emphasize to Washingtonians to be alert. If you get an evacuation order, for God's sakes, follow it.
State officials say a 33-year-old man died in hard-hit Snohomish County after he drove past road closed signs into 6-foot deep water. Others had to be rescued from fast-rising floodwaters, including this man who climbed on the top of his car when he got stuck Monday night. The historic flooding has washed away parts of Highway 2, connecting the Seattle area to the Cascade Mountains. Officials say it could be closed for months.
And it's not a 1 or 2 day event, right? We're in for the long haul.
So this is what is happening in Washington State. It says a levee failure along the White River, flooding entire neighborhoods. So this happened in Katrina. This happened in Asheville, North Carolina, which I told you I had a friend that lives in Asheville, North Carolina. They just don't get flooding like ever. So that was weird when that happened. And once this water dries up, this is when investors come in because people can't keep these homes. Investors will come in. Don't be surprised if they try to buy that land and put what they want on it. And once again, you'll see more people displaced. This happened in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. I'll show you that in just a second. This is why I worry about these storms. They're also warning people about toilet rats. This was just yesterday. Health officials warn of toilet rats following Washington flooding. I want to show you guys this here. According to an advisory posted on Facebook on Thursday from Seattle and King County Public Health Department, floodwaters can displace rodents, sweeping them through combined sewer systems and occasionally into homes. So historic flooding this month in Washington state strained local infrastructure, broke levees, and prompted nearly 1,000 evacuations across the state. With the flooding came renewed warnings about public sanitation and the need for community awareness, especially for homeowners in flood-prone neighborhoods. Modern plumbing design has reduced some risk, but the region's older combined sewers remain vulnerable when overwhelmed by heavy rain. So they are warning people that be careful when you go to the bathroom, because they're warning people that rats could end up in their toilet. It said residents should stay calm, close the toilet lid, and flush. If flushing does not remove the rat, they are advised to pour dish soap into a bowl, which breaks the surface tension and aids the rodent's exit when flushing again. If unsuccessful, close the bathroom door, contact pest control services. So this is a big deal in Washington state right now. And again, thinking about those levees breaking, I just want to remind everyone of what happened after the levees broke in New Orleans, right? The investors will come in. The land isn't going to go to waste. People with money will buy it. They will put whatever properties they want on that land. And then you will start to see another phase of gentrification come through. It happened in New Orleans. It's happened in the Carolinas. And if this doesn't get sorted out, it could also happen in Washington state, because that land, like I said, those homes will not be usable, right? You're going to have all type of mold in those homes. They're going to have to be torn down. Then the question is, do you have the money to rebuild another house on that same land? And with the flood like this, then a lot of times people may not feel comfortable staying there anymore either. So let me show you what happened in New Orleans after all this took place. Let's go to this part here. Look at this. This was the 9th ward, right? So it says here, today, one of the neighborhoods functions as both a social hub and a source of identity. It's not unusual for New Orleans to spend their entire lives in a few square miles, as is the case for Edwin Griffin, a 9th Ward native who grew up in the Desire Projects. He said he loves the city. He didn't want to leave for Katrina. However, when Hurricane Katrina submerged 80% of the city, it ushered in a new wave of newcomers eager to assist with rebuilding and forced out many long-term residents. Rapid change came to a city notorious for resisting it. The storm kickstarted the gentrification trend that swept almost every major U.S. city and transformed many New Orleans neighborhoods, perhaps none so drastically as Griffin's home turf, the 9th Ward. This is what I'm forewarning people about. When these disasters happen and the land is no longer usable at this point in time, after cleanup efforts happen, it is not uncommon for investors to make their bid. I am going to buy this land. I have the money and I'm going to rebuild. We're going to rebuild here and everything's going to be great. But oftentimes after that rebuilding, the people who live there, they can't afford the price of this new project and they are pushed out. Gentrification is not just done by investors buying apartment buildings. That's one way. It's also done after natural disasters, after these weather patterns, after floods. Flooding's a big one. The investors come in because now the land is, if it was worth something, is not worth much now because it's ruined. So they can buy it pretty cheaply, rebuild, as they call it, and you have a whole new community and just a memory of what once was. When the levee breaks, this is something that people need to be concerned about, right? Now, they are calling for snow in Washington State at this point in time. This is all crazy. This is happening like right before Christmas. People evacuated, people displaced. But in the words of Led Zeppelin, what did they say? They said, if it keeps on raining, the levee's going to break. When the levee breaks, I'll have no place to stay. It's a cover of a blues song. You should listen to it. If you know someone that lives in Washington State, please check on them and see how they're doing. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.